Okay, so today we're going to factor completely. So we're going to combine factoring using the GCF and factoring a trinomial. It should be the last page in your notes section. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look for is the GCF. So remember we drew a box for our GCF. And we separated our terms. So it's 5x cubed goes in the first box, positive 15x squared goes in the second box, and negative 5x. And we want to look for the GCF. Okay, what number can they all be divided by? 5. Okay, and then for the variables, do they all have a variable in common? All right, they all have x. And what's the smallest amount of x's I have? Just x to the first, or x. So I can factor out 5x. That's the GCF. When I factor out 5x, I get left with 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then x cubed, I take away 1 and get x squared. Then 15 divided by 5 is 3. And I take away an x, and I just get left with x. And that's a positive 3x. And then negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. And I take away the x, and there's no more x's left. So I have 5x times x squared plus 3x minus 1. Step 2 is we're going to look to see if you need to factor by grouping if there's 4 terms. Are there 4 terms here? There's 1, 2, 3, so there's only 3 terms, so I'm not going to factor by grouping. And step 3 is going to try and factor using the box. So we're going to factor our trinomial. So we're going to put the x squared here, the 3x here, the positive 3x, and the negative 1 here. And we see we can factor that. Adam, what multiplies to x squared? X times x. Okay. In class, what multiplies to 1? 1 times 1. Then we check. 1 times x is 1x. We'll figure out that in just a second. And then x times 1 is 1x. One of them does need to be negative. Okay. If I subtract 1 and 1, do I get 3? No. Can I switch the 1 and the 1 and will that change anything? No. Is there anything else that multiplies to 1? Is there anything else that multiplies to x squared? No. So this is prime. Okay, so the x squared plus 3x minus 1 is prime. That means I can't factor it any further. So this is my answer. This trinomial was prime. It doesn't have any other factors other than 1 in itself. So this is as far as I can factor it. Any questions over that? Okay, let's do the next one. 6x cubed minus 21x. Again, we're always going to start with the GCF. Okay, Mason, what can they both be divided by? Okay. So they can both divide by 3, and there's just an x by itself. They both have x's, and the smallest amount is x to the first. Now we're going to divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and I take away an x, I get x squared. 21 divided by 3 is negative 7, and I take away the x, and there's no more left. So now I have 2x squared minus 7. So we want to try and factor that further. So we have 3x times the 2x squared minus 7. I'm going to use the box and see if I can factor it any further. So I have 2x squared. Since there's no x's, I have 0x in the center and a negative 7 here. And we guess and check. Samantha, what multiplies to 2? 2x and x. In class, what multiplies to 7? 7 and 1. Let's see. So now we're going to check. 7 times x is 7x. 2x times 1 is 1x. Or sorry, 2 x's. 2 times 1 is 2, just so you know. Now, they should be opposite signs. So if I subtract them, do I get 0? No. Okay, let's see if I switch them. If I put the 7 here and the 1 here, will that help me at all? Let's check it. X times 1 is 1x. 2 times 7 is 14x's. That didn't help at all, right? Okay, is there anything else that multiplies to 7? Anything that else that multiplies to 2? No. Okay, so this is prime. So I can only factor out the GCF. So those are the two factors, 3x and 2x squared minus 7. Any questions over that? Okay, C. Is there something that can all be divided by? They're not all even. They're not all divisible by 5. 5 is prime, so I can't do anything there. Okay, there are 4 terms. Means you need to factor by grouping. Okay, so this is back in, I think, 2.4 we learned this. Okay, so we draw the box. Without the circle in the middle. Because there's 4 terms, I can't, let's see. I don't need to combine the middle terms to get to that circle. So I just draw the 4 little box. The square cut into 4 pieces. The 2x squared goes here. The 6x goes here. The negative 5xy goes here. And negative 15y goes here. Okay. You're going to find the GCF of each row. So you're going to group these two together and find the GCF there. What can 2x squared and 6x both be divided by? 2 and x. They both have an x. The smallest amount is 1, so we're going to pull out 2x. Then we're going to divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And I'm going to take away an x, so it's just 1x. And what's 6 divided by 2? 3. And I take away the x. Okay, and it's a positive 3 at this point. Okay, now we're going to find the GCF of the second row as well. Okay, negative 5xy and negative 15y. What's the GCF there? 5y. Very good. Negative 5y. Okay, why is it negative? Very good. Remember, if this first term is negative, then you have to pull out a negative number. Okay, if you don't do that, then you're going to get it wrong. Okay, then you divide. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1, and I take away a y, so it's 1x. Or just x. If you write just x, that's fine too. Then negative 15 divided by negative 5 is a positive 3, and the y again goes away. Now remember, we had to make sure that both of those match. If they don't match, then we've done something wrong. Go back and fix it. So I just need the length of the sides. So the length of my sides are x plus 3. And the other length is the 2x minus 5y. There's your answer. Any questions over that? Okay, do the next one in your pairs. So there's 4 terms again. So we're going to draw our box. It's 4x cubed, 12x squared, 3x, and 9. Okay, Maddie, what'd you pull out here? 4x. And the smallest amount of exponents is the x squared. So we can pull out 4x squared. And that will get me left. I subtract the 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and then x. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and I take away the x squared. There's no more left, so it's x plus 3 there. Stephen, what'd you pull out at the bottom? 3. I pull out that 3, and I get left with x. 3 divided by 3 is x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So x plus 3. Again, these match. Okay, if they don't match, go back and fix it. You've done something wrong. So my factors are the length of the sides. So one of the length of the sides is x plus 3. And the other one is 4x squared plus 3. Good job. Most of us got that. Okay, next one. Again, we're going to start with that GCF. So we have our 20x squared and our negative 45y squared. So what can they both be divided by? 5. Let's plot a 5. Then 20 divided by 5 is 4x squared. They don't have a variable in common because one has an x and the other one has a y. So you can't pull out an x or a y. They need to both have it. And then negative 45 divided by 5 is negative 9, and then y squared. Any questions? Okay, so our factors right now are 5 times 4x squared minus 9y squared. We still need to try and factor that binomial further because they still have squared variables. So we're going to use our box. I have the 4x squared. I'm missing a term. I only have 2 terms. So what goes in the circle? 0, x and y. And then here comes the 9y squared. Because the 2 boxes, these 2 boxes here, should cancel out. They should cancel out to that 0, if we can factor. Okay, class, what multiplies to 4? 2x and 2x. And what multiplies to 9? 3y and 3y. Let's check. 3 times 2 is 6xy. And 2 times 3 is 6xy. Now this tells me that they're opposite signs, so one's negative and one's positive. If I subtract 6 and 6, do I get 0? Yes. It doesn't matter which one's negative here and which one's positive because they subtract to 0. So I'm going to make this one negative. That means that 3y is negative. This is positive. That makes this 3y positive. So my factors are 2x minus 3y times, no, they don't match exactly, times 2x plus 3y. And then don't forget to bring down the 5. Any questions over that? Okay. Next one. Okay, I'm going to have you guys factor that one in your pairs. So most of us figured out that it didn't have a GCF. So you gotta go directly into the box and get 4x squared minus 8xy minus 21y squared. Okay, most of us tried 2x and 2x to begin with, and then 7 and 3. 7 times 2 is 14x, y. Sorry, this should have a y on it, right? And so should the 3. Because we want negative 21y squared. Then 2 times 3 is 6xy. I know that they need to be opposite signs, so they'll subtract. I want it to be a negative 8, so the 14 needs to be negative and the 6 needs to be positive. That makes this 3 positive and the 7 negative. So my factors are 2x minus 7y and 2x plus 3y. Any questions over that? Good. Okay, next one. Okay, again, we're going to start with that GCF. You don't need to draw this box until you see that there's a GCF. Okay? I know there's a GCF. What do they all have? An X. They all have that X. They can't be divided by a number, but they can be divided by that variable. So I can factor out that X. And that'll give me 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. So just take away an x from each of them. Any questions? So right now my factors are x times 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Now we're going to move to the box. I get my 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Okay, what multiplies to 9, class? 3x and 3x. And what multiplies to 4? 2 times 2. So then 2 times 3 is 6x, and 3x times 2 is 6x. Okay. Yes?
Would you have to make both the twos negative?
Okay, now that's when I check the signs. So I need a negative 12, and I know I'm adding them, so they both need to be negative. Okay, so negative 6 and the 6 both need to be negative. That makes this 2 negative, as well as this 2 negative. So my factors are 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2. Don't forget that x that we pulled out at the beginning. Is there another way I could write this? Okay, how else can I write this? Very good. Since these match exactly, 3x minus 2 and 3x minus 2, I can write it as 3x minus 2, the whole thing squared. So this or this. On a test, it's probably going to look like this. Any questions? Do we have this? Do we need more examples? We're good? Okay, your homework, I'm going to have you guys start working on that.